Time for what?
Time for what?
Experience in college.
Time for reinforcement.
Time for liftoff!
Where nothing is impossible unless you think it is impossible.
College.
My college scholarship.
Yes.
Boom.
College ran by real fast.
You hung in with the best college.
Touchdown! First time for everything.
Well, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Let's do this thing.
Genius, let's do this thing!
Welcome to the show, everyone. Oh my God. I'm so excited because we are here in Tacoma, Washington, in the beautiful place called University of Puget Sound. But I am excited to be here for the campus, but I'm really excited who's right in front of me.
Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I am a freshman right now at the University of Puget Sound. I'm from San Francisco. I went to SI. Yeah, I'm a Posse Scholar, and that was a long process, but it was definitely worth it if you're thinking about applying. And I'm just really excited to be here, especially with the pandemic. I'm having the time of my life right now.
And that's the key thing, right? Like, though there's a pandemic, good important pause right there, right? Like, when is this starting or ending? And you came from remote learning, how to do all these interviews through the Posse application process, all remote. And then you know, a lot of people across the nation couldn't visit campuses, and then you're here. How scary was that for you? Because for me, I'm first gen. I never visited my college campus until the first day, but you had no choice either way. So tell me, how was that only seeing pictures, the internet, and then coming here the very first time and looking at the place?
To be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, pictures are really nice, but they don't give you that feel of campus that you can only get when you're visiting in person. And the first week for me was just kind of getting acquainted with like myself and like how to take care of myself on my own, like how to like develop a schedule for sleep and eating and these things that you just don't really think about. Especially as a first gen student, I didn't have any expectations coming in. I didn't really have a picture being developed of like what classes were going to look like or what my experience on campus but outside of class was going to be. And I'm still discovering that, but it's definitely been a journey just discovering myself in campus.
You know, when I saw you at first, you said the word freedom, and that is very exciting, but also nerve-wracking too, right? Do you feel a little bit extra supported because you are a Posse Scholar, right? There's a group of 10 other people from the Bay Area that came with you at University of Puget Sound.
Yeah, definitely. The Posse Foundation has really helped to support me both with coming to campus and getting acquainted, as well as just being on campus and with classes and just having a support system of other posses, like the seniors, juniors, and sophomores right now that are currently at school with us that are also Posse. They've been really instrumental in just welcoming us to campus and making us feel like we have a community here, which we definitely do. In addition to that, I don't know about other universities, but the University of Puget Sound is really big on student support, both mental, like academic, even if you just like need someone to talk to about how to prepare for like a long-term assignment, anything like that. There are people that you can go to, and the university has done a really good job of helping me and others feel supported, especially because like we are freshmen. This is our first time on a campus for most of us away from home. There are just things that you wouldn't think about that there are multiple support systems for.
Yeah, you are the second Posse Scholar from your high school, and though there's 2,000 students here at University of Puget Sound, you come from a school that's over 1,500, hallways always crazy, people going in and out. How was that? Because I think a lot of times people get so afraid, like, wait, I'm going to a school that's about the same size as my high school. Is that a downgrade, upgrade? Could you explain that? Because I think a lot of times people forget that sometimes a small school that focuses so much on the students gives you so many more opportunities and so much attention.
Yeah, I think coming from SI, there was definitely, you could feel the support and, you know, teachers and counselors that made time for you if you needed it. And I feel like that's definitely the same here at the University of Puget Sound. I think the average class size is around 17, but it definitely feels like the teachers are there to support you, kind of similar to SI, and there are like constant office hours. Teachers will make time for you. Same with any other support system on campus that you might need. You just need to make an appointment, and it'll be usually 24 to 48 hours, and like they'll get back to you ASAP. I think the university has that small school feel. It doesn't sacrifice any of the like opportunities that you might get at a big school. It's a very good balance of support and like education. So I think that's one of the big things here at the University of Puget Sound that I really enjoy.
And also loggers, right? That is your mascot. You're Division III, but I've seen your complex, your athletic complex, bigger than some Division II schools. So have you had a chance yet to go to a game? I know it's kind of weird during the pandemic, or have you heard about how the games are here?
Yeah, so we are a Division III school, but that doesn't take away from like the excitement that the student body gets from like attending these games. We've had a few football games so far. Most of them, or all of them, have been rained out. And not rained out like canceled, but rained out where like we're sitting in the rain.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Really? Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
This is in Washington, so that's
exactly,
why there's beautiful trees everywhere. So you need rain for them. So yeah.
The rain does not stop anyone from going to the games. I feel like it actually like brings people out more, just because I feel like we haven't experienced rain in a year and a half. So just being able to spend time with people, especially like with the pandemic going on, and like in person as well, that's a really big thing. Back to the athletic complex, there are a lot of resources as well. You can get plans, you can talk to someone, and for like diets, workout sessions, things like that, there are various opportunities for you to. There's also a swimming pool that's open to students for free. Our athletic like gym, like basketball gym, it's like state of the art. It's really nice, and just the facilities in general are not what you'd expect of a D3 school. They're like superb.
Wow. I think I need to be a logger just to get into that diet exercise plan myself. So, but now you talk so much about the support. I know there's also internships. So if you want to go to grad school or get connected, the alumni. I know like I bumped into some alumni who just still haven't moved out of the area because they loved it so much. But how is it for representation, right? Here, like whether in the classroom, do you feel, like, there's one thing like you can put a percentage of the diversity. It's one thing about feeling that. And then also, I know that University of Puget Sound, there's a lot of empathy, but also it really helps if there's someone you can identify, whether it's first gen or similar background. So what has been your experiences with freshman eyes here at University of Puget Sound?
The University of Puget Sound is a predominantly white institution. However, I do feel like there is a lot of representation on campus. There are multiple affinity groups, the BSU, the equivalent of the ASE, Asian Student Coalition. There are multiple affinity groups, and you don't need to be attending those meetings like every time. It's just knowing that you have a community that will support you. And that's really big. In addition to that, we have our African American branch that offers classes on the African American experience in the US, and I think that's unique to our campus. That doesn't happen anywhere else, like in the United States. So that's really big in just being able to educate people on like what minorities, specifically African American people, have gone through in the United States. And there is a lot of representation, especially for a predominantly white institute. It's all about just finding those resources for you and like finding that support that you need.
You know, finding those allies are so important. I think that's always been my thing, regardless of who you are, to make that person be able to be happy in college and finish college is so important as well too. Let's talk about Tacoma. So a lot of people go Tacoma, like they all know Seattle, urban city, and it's 30 minutes just driving outside of the Seattle area. What is around here at Tacoma, and how has been transportation? Because most students just don't go to college and here's my car. So what is it like around here for you?
I did not come to campus with a car or a bike, so I'm only on foot unless like I can get a ride from someone. But for the most part, everything is in walking distance. There's like a Target and like grocery stores like maybe 20 minutes out by foot, so it's not inaccessible for most people. There's also like malls and restaurants and things like that you might want for like in like a bigger city. Those are also accessible, maybe like a 10-15 minute walk. Everything is like in walking distance, all the essentials. There are like hiking trails and like scenic routes and things like that if you wanted to see those, you might need a car or transportation of some kind. But for the most part, public transit is also very good here. The school does offer like bus passes, and so you don't have to pay out of pocket for that, especially if like you need it like multiple days a week. If you're like attending work or something, you can do that through the school for free. And I think most people say that you don't need a car unless like you're constantly planning on driving somewhere that's over like 20-25 minutes away, just because everything is so accessible. And even if the walk to the grocery store might be too long, you just need a bike and you're set for 2-3 years. So
that sounds great. Yeah, and I could have easily, if I had more time, take public transportation from Seattle, because I'm attending a conference and just be an hour right out there. Now, you are our first Posse Scholar we've ever interviewed for our podcast. So for those who are like thinking about Posse, right? So if you are nominated from an institution your junior year, what is that interview process like, right? Like the Posse Potential this year just did that first interview, right? Where there's that big session, I always talk about like it's like icebreaker meetings where they had to, answer questions, nothing specific, just kind of getting your personality, right? Was that nerve-wracking for you?
Oh, it was definitely nerve-wracking. And for those of you that know me personally, you know that I do not do well in new situations. So it was definitely something that I thought about like weeks before. And the one thing that I can offer as a piece of advice is to be authentic. That's really what the Posse trainers are looking for. If you stay true to your story and like the experiences that have shaped you, you'll have a better chance of getting that scholarship. And also just it's better to be authentic to yourself and what you've seen as opposed to kind of developing a new persona, just because even if you do get that lofty scholarship, people aren't going to know you if you're not authentic to yourself. And that's a big struggle, especially because these are the people that you're going to be spending 4 years with and maybe more. So
no, and I think that's a great advice for even as adults too, right? With all your pluses and minuses, you are who you are. Start loving it now, right? And so some of our kids, hopefully, who got nominated will be going to second round, which is much different, right? Because you're going to meet just with the Posse people. So it's more of a one-on-one or one with two of the Posse committee members where they have to rank all their colleges. Any tips for those guys prepping for that interview besides being authentic, like who is really your first, second, choices of all the colleges?
Definitely be prepared. Do your research. Like ask around. There are definitely alumni everywhere, like from each of the schools that you can just ask about, what are some of the strongest areas of your school and like what needs improvement. You can also ask about student life, any concerns you might have there. Just make sure you know what you're getting into with each school and like what programs you might want to get into, just because the second interview where you choose your school that's final, and you don't change that one. If you do move on to the third interview, that's not something that you can change. So you should really be prepared for the second interview. Bring questions and definitely just do your research and be prepared.
How was it when you got that call? It's like, oh my God, you're a finalist and you've been selected for University of Puget Sound. Because it's very different. You're not choosing the school. They're choosing one of the schools for you. So how was that experience?
Honestly, I did not think I would make it past the second round.
We never underestimated you, Jacob. It's all about that potential.
I feel like my nerves got the best of me, honestly, but I just tried to like stay true to myself and just answer questions as I would normally, and I guess it worked. And so getting that call was definitely exciting, just because the University of Puget Sound was my first choice, and I was just excited that I had the chance to help my family out and help myself out by earning that scholarship.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's 4 years of free tuition at one of the selected schools. Your mom's, I still have that video of her being so grateful about the trip. She's so adorable. So shout out to Jacob's mom. But I think the one that's priceless is that support. You know that you're not the only one, right? There's other people who could relate from different backgrounds, and you know the whole part of it being called Posse is someone has your back, right? You have allies coming there, whether older or the same age group. So when you went to the final round is where you meet with the actual college representatives from the selected campus that the Posse Foundation selected for you. That one, I think, to be honest, from an objective point of view, the first one is about just getting your nerves and being yourself. The second one, did you do your research of your schools and know what you want and what you don't want, which it's hard for anyone to know when they're 17 or 18 about that. The third one is like, they're going to ask you some challenging questions about our challenging time, because the objective is for you to be that leader on campus, not to be afraid to ask the question, to listen to all sides, to think outside the box. So any tips for those folks who are going to go to that final round with just 20 other students and only 10 of you will be selected?
The big thing that I remember is being able to step out of your comfort zone. For me, I am not a very talkative person, so I kind of took it upon myself to share a little more and take a little more initiative. For other people, that might look like kind of knowing when to step back, because you're usually one of the first people to share. So showing that you can both take initiative but also step back and listen and understand where other people are coming from. That's one of the biggest things. That doesn't just apply to the Posse Scholarship, but also just in all your encounters, just knowing how to listen and listening not just to respond, but to understand. That's one of the biggest things. Yeah, just knowing how to step outside your comfort zone and being okay with being outside your comfort zone. Those are both very important for the final interview.
Boy, Jacob, what great wisdom. And you wonder why you're not a Posse Scholar. Since you have so much wisdom, if you had to go back in time, any words of wisdom that you would tell your support system in the high school, right? Like, for the counseling departments, things we should definitely continue, things we may change, or, so any advice for us as a school community?
College visits were very, very important to me, and they definitely helped me just kind of look at different schools that I wouldn't normally have thought about, just opening like my perspective. I also think that college counselors are very, very important. If you're a student, you should definitely be in touch with your college counselor. They're just such a good resource that has so many different resources just to help you out, because they're there to help you. So yeah, take advantage of all your resources, and for the school, I think they're doing a really good job right now.
Okay, and then the last thing is, what would you tell to Jacob if he was a sophomore or junior right now, or if you were back in time in high school? What is something you would reassure him to know and tell him, like, just let that go, like that, don't trip about those things?
I think for me, as a sophomore or junior, I didn't really have too many concerns about college. It was more about just getting good grades. And so I think the words of wisdom I would give to past me is, I guess, find balance between school and sleep and socializing, just because all three of those are really important to taking care of yourself, and you are the most important thing. So taking care of your whole self, but also not forgetting about your grades, because those are important too.
Beautiful, Jacob. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for you. And please remind your future self to continue taking those resources. No, not to underestimate yourself, because the sky's the limit for you. And thank you for giving us more tools so all of us could rise above. And keeping that motto, can't stop, won't stop. All right. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your precious day to listen to us. So subscribe so that you could download this podcast wherever you may be. We're on so many different streaming devices, but also you can find out more information about College for All at college4all.com. We're also on Twitter at collegeforall.amv, Instagram collegeforall.amv, and more to come. Thank you and have an amazing day.